Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think you may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Hollywood, Florida, with your host and hostess, Mark Angelo and Jessica Lynn Cummings. Show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard.
Well, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida. That's right, Wilton Manors, Florida, just like the San Francisco of California.
San Francisco, Florida.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, tonight we have the pleasure to interview Rhonda Dinwiddie, a trans woman of faith who is the founder of Trans Image on Facebook. But before we bring her on, we want to thank our sponsor,
TheBreastFormStore.com. They have everything you need for your cross-dressing and transgender needs. Visit their website and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
Rhonda states that she has always felt girlish from the age of 4. She played and enjoyed the company of girls, playing their card games, rope jumping, hopscotch, and house with toy tea sets and dolls. She says, I was frail and had no interest in competitive sports, in school or in my neighborhood, and I was not good at any of them.
Guys tended to bully and pick on me without any reason at all. I was a girl between the ears, and whenever I had the opportunity, I was myself when I put on my mother's clothes and makeup. But I knew I was different, so I played along with societal expectations most of the time by cross-dressing as a boy. Still, I was torn between the she-me that I needed to be and the he-me that was expected of me.
I was baptized in the Christian faith at 14, largely out of societal expectation of the local church where my father took me, but also because I wanted freedom from the guilt of sin. I later came to understand that although we all have a sinful condition, selfishness, being transgender, is not one part of it. Most TGs are quite selfish for a while just for survival, but TGs can grow, become less selfish, and more in tune with the needs of others.
I now work to help other transgender people see that they are okay in the sight of God. God loves all of her children, regardless of color, religion, nationality, sexual orientation, gender expression, or any of the other multiplicity of categories into which we might fit.
The beautiful rainbow spectrum of humanity is precious to God. She loves us all, no matter what. And it is my personal mission to help all of us love one another like that.
Now, please welcome to our show the lovely Rhonda Dinwiddie. Hi, Rhonda. How are you, honey?
Hi, Jessica. Hi, Mark. It's such a pleasure to be on your program. I am just fine. Thank you. How are you two today?
We're doing good. Yeah, doing good. It's Friday. It's always a good day. Friday.
Yes, TGIF. Hey.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is my regular day off. Every other Friday I have off, and this is one of those Fridays.
Awesome. I'm fortunate enough to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I work Monday to Thursday.
I know. You guys work all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have a job that I'm an occupational therapist, and then between the radio and TV show, that's another job added. So I'm usually never off.
Okay, stop bragging.
Okay, enough of the bragging. So, tell us.
You ever get any sleep?
Hardly.
Very little.
But that's all right. When they put me in the box, I'll sleep on it. Plenty. Anyway, tell us what you remember most about your childhood.
Well, my childhood was pretty uneventful. Born male, but very early on, I just didn't feel much like a boy. Of course, when you're 4 years old, you don't understand much about the difference between boys and girls anyway, but I knew then that there was something different about me that was just not quite like other boys. And I can recall my mother and father being gone because my mother was pregnant with my brother, and they were off to the hospital, and I can recall finding one of my mom's lipsticks on a table, and I just thought this was wonderful to be able to put that on, and it just felt so good at the age of 4. And I can recall very early times of wanting to dress up in my mother's clothes, and of course they didn't fit, but I enjoyed it anyway. And as I grew older, I continued to do that whenever I had a chance. But in the back of my mind, I thought, this isn't what other boys do. And so I had kind of feelings of darkness about it all, like this isn't right, And nonetheless, I grew up pretty much like all boys do, except for the thing that I didn't enjoy most of the things that other boys liked doing. They roughhoused and they enjoyed competitive sports, and that just wasn't for me. I can remember being picked on frequently, and I wouldn't fight back. In fact, my mother taught me not to fight back, not to fight for myself whenever I was picked on, and times were kind of rough because I would get beaten up, and I just felt like there's no justice in this,
Absolutely.
But like I said, other than that, it was pretty uneventful. I can recall when I was about 20 years old that I thought, this is something that is not something that I should have. I want to get out of this. I want to be the man that society expects of me, so I'll just join the service. And I actually volunteered for the draft, and a good reason for that was that when you volunteer for the draft, you only have to put in back at that time, you only had to put in 2 years worth of service, whereas enlistees had to put in 3 years. But I did that because I felt like, well, the service will make a man out of me. And when I got into the service, I felt great about it, joined the Army. I was sent to Fort Sam Houston, Texas, to do my basic training and medical training because I was a conscientious objector. And so I became a medic. And I volunteered for a program where I actually went to, I can't even think of the name of the fort right now. But anyway, they were doing experiments on servicemen who volunteered to do it, chemical experiments, in order to see how we would be affected by certain kinds of chemical warfare. And but before I ever got tested for any of those kinds of things, I got caught dressing up as a female while I was in the military on the weekend. And, of course, that didn't go over too well. But anyhow, I'm sure you have lots of other questions.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I wanted to comment on what you were saying about the, earlier in childhood about, feeling like something was different. And, I like to think of it that we're born male-bodied females. Unfortunately, we start out with a male body and we do what we can through life to change that. And definitely can relate to a lot of the things you were saying there as well. But let me ask you, why do you think gender has become such a focus in our society instead of allowing people to express themselves freely as we did back in ancient times?
Well, I don't know an awful lot about ancient times, but I know that in our modern times, more people are coming out as transgender individuals, male to female, female to male, and expressing themselves this way. And of course, a regular cisgender society, when they see us, it comes as a surprise, kind of as a shock. They don't know quite what to make of it. And for many people, anything that is different, they get angry at. Anything that is different, they get fearful about. And but I really think that the people that are coming out and becoming who they are is what's making it more of a focus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think it's an evolution that's happening within humankind.
Yes.
It's like you were saying. I like how you articulated that about how people don't understand when they see us. They don't understand, and it kind of relates to kind of like when I see a spider, I don't know if it's a poisonous spider. I'm ignorant to spiders, so my first inclination is to be angry towards it and want to squish it, because I don't understand it, and I'm ignorant to the concept, because I definitely don't want to get bit by a spider, but
spiders and transgender people. Okay, two different.
No, it might have made any sense, but it doesn't.
Don't mind her. She's blonde.
Shut up.
Explain to our listeners what you meant by the freedom from the guilt of sin, that you wanted to experience the freedom from the guilt of sin.
Well, I've always, since early times, from just being a young child, been taught about God and about biblical realities, biblical teachings about who God is, what He expects of us, the fact that He is holy, without fault, pure, and we all are, by comparison, very evil sinners. And this is kind of ingrained in me as a child. And at the time when I really became conscious about my sinfulness, I was being taught special things about God and about the Bible, about prophecies, and it just seemed to me so real that if God can have prophets foretell the future, and the future actually takes place just as it was prophesied by early prophets later down in history, then God must be real. And so I began thinking in terms of, okay, God is real, then He must be holy, He must be pure and perfect, and sinners need to be saved. And I felt that I needed this, and so I was baptized at the age of 14, but I don't think I really totally understood what I was doing at the time. But I had a really remarkable religious experience at the age of 17 that, well, I was kind of in a depression because of things that I was being taught in college. I actually started college at 17. I graduated at 17 and started going to a local community college and started having, teachers who, although they had PhDs, they were agnostics, they were deists, they were atheists, and a chemistry professor just felt like, anybody who believes in religion or Christianity or anything like that is just a fool. And he, quite frankly, tried to get us all to believe that. And that put me in kind of a depression, and I remember getting down on my knees one night and telling God, I really needed help, that I believed in him, and that I needed some help in regards to this. Please take this burden away from me. And I got up from there, and I said, amen, amen, got up from there, and the burden was lifted, but yet I felt like there was something more to come, but yet I promptly forgot about what I had prayed. And 3 days later, I had the answer. It was just a most remarkable, fine-tuned, miraculous answer to that prayer. And I won't go into detail with that or about that right now. Don't think you want to have me take up the time to do that. But because of that experience...
We've got 3 more questions and an announcement to make at the end. So.
Okay.
No pressure. No pressure.
Well, I just wanted to say, because of that experience, I could never, ever be an atheist. And so I've continued with my faith in God until this day, and it's growing stronger every day. Go ahead with your questions.
Well, why do you think as transgender individuals we become so consumed with ourselves and self-centered? Because we all do go through that stage, absolutely.
We all go through it because at some point we have to have a defining moment for ourselves. We have to define ourselves, and anything that gets in the way of that, it just seems like it's an irresistible force meeting an immovable object. And I'm sure you know what I mean. We have to come to a point in time when we make a break from what society expects of us and who we know we have to be. And I made that break about 10 years ago, and gradually transitioned on the job, and I had some bad experiences as a result of that, but everything's fine now. Have I answered your question on that?
Yes.
Very much so.
I also wanted to add that I think a lot of it is because
I'm having trouble understanding you. I can hardly hear you. Can you speak up a little louder?
Can you hear us now?
That's better, and maybe a little more slowly.
Okay, I was going to say that I believe that one of the reasons we are self-centered is because we go through a second puberty, and because we have lived our lives so repressed, all of a sudden now we're able to live the life we want, and it becomes all about me.
Well, that's true to a point. Yeah. That's true to a point. I mean, but, because transition becomes the sole goal in life.
It becomes the focus, yes, and I think we both have just said in different words the same thing. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Well, tell us about the work you do for the trans community.
Well, almost a year ago, in fact, it was July 15th last year, I started a new transgender support group, Trans Image, of which you folks are members, and I applaud what you do for the trans community. I think you're doing a marvelous work. I wish I had more time to actually listen in on more of the programs that you two are putting on. One interesting program that I really enjoyed was the one of Leanne Simone and her issues with being an intersex person, and she and I are good friends, and largely because of the interview that you had with her. But I enjoy doing this, of trying to find ways to help the trans community, because so many are subjected to such terrible abuse. They're thrown out of their homes, and many cannot find jobs because of being trans. And, you know, it's hard for people to get dates, and when they do get dates, if they don't come out and tell who they are, then they're branded as, you know, being liars, and if they do, oftentimes that's the end of the relationship, or they may even get beaten up. It's just one thing after another. Trans people face tremendous cruelty in society. I think it's getting better, but I want to do what I can to help as many as I can. You know, in 2008, there was a study done of over 700 trans people and finding out how many of those who responded to the survey had attempted suicide. 41%. And that's those who are still alive. Who knows how many didn't survive who actually succeeded in committing suicide. And if I can help one person, it will not have been in vain.
Absolutely. And I think we feel exactly the same way. You know, I'm speaking for myself, and I'm sure Mark feels exactly the same way. But, yeah, I agree. If we could help just one person change their view on life and their view on the outlook of transition and everything like that and save a life, it would be very, very, very much well worth it.
I mean, I've been advocating now for the past almost 11 years. When I came out and I was a trans man, it was back in 2003 when it wasn't as noted, it wasn't as popular, and it was a lot more dangerous. Then I could have gone stealth completely, but I decided not to when I started the advocacy, going on talk shows.
You could not go stealth. Shut up. All you do is talk about being transgender. Well, there's no way you can go stealth. There's no way you can go stealth. You're not. I'm probably in trouble all the time. I'm a proud trans. Yes, you are.
Being trans and being honest with yourself and being honest with your community and with society at large is so difficult. It is such a courageous thing to do, to come out and be open with it. And I praise anybody and everybody who does, you know, and it takes time, and there's so many that are on the edge and they just don't know what to do or where to turn or how to deal with their transgender issues. Some are married and they love their husbands and their wives, and they're afraid to come out to them. It's just really hard.
It is. It's very hard. But let me ask you, are you happy with your life now? And what steps did you take to get there?
You know, I've been married for 47 years to the same woman. And just recently, my wife has started giving me some of her clothes where she's lost a few pounds, and she just left a couple of pairs of pants on my bed this morning. She took me to Chico's a few days ago, and we bought up some nice things for her and for me, and she does not seem to be as reticent to be with me in public as Rhonda anymore. And it's taken time. You know, it's been 10 years since I came out to her and said, this is who I am, this is who I have to be. And I felt that my marriage was possibly on the rocks. I soon felt like at the time that I needed to commit suicide myself or was thinking about it. But I got over that depression, and things are much better now. I tell you, I am so happy. Things are going the way they are. I'm so happy.
And that's great.
And that's great that you have a support system with your spouse as well.
Well, Rhonda, we want to thank you for being on our show.
Yes.
Been wanting to get you on for a while. I'm glad that you were able to join us today.
Yes, we are. It was a pleasure.
Your story would definitely be helping a lot of people.
Well, I thank you so much for having me on your show. Thank you both, Jessica and Mark. You two are doing a great job, and I continue to believe that you will continue to do that, and I'm so glad that you're part of TransImage as well.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad to be a part of it as well. Absolutely. So have a great night, Rhonda, and we'll talk to you soon, sweetie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
We wanted to read an article of a new study that reveals that hormonal therapy for transsexual patients is safe and effective. That's right, you heard right, safe and effective. Some transsexual individuals feel they were born the wrong gender, so they undergo surgical and hormonal therapies to change their external characteristics to match their internal image of themselves. However, because hormonal therapy involves patients receiving large doses of male or female sex hormones, many people are concerned about its health effects.
The latest study presented at the Endocrine Society's 95th annual meeting in San Francisco revealed that short-term hormonal therapy for transsexual individuals is effective and safe, with few side effects. Although transsexualism remains a rare diagnosis, the number of trans persons seeking hormonal or surgical treatment has drastically increased in recent years, making a detailed multi-center description on the effects of cross-sex hormonal treatment timely, said study lead author Dr. Katrine Weertjes, an endocrinologist at Ghent University Hospital in Belgium.
Figures it would take Belgium to do a study, right? Our study gives valuable information about the effects of drastic changes in sex steroids on glucose and lipid metabolism, cardiovascular, and bone health, so that we can inform our future clients, their families, and other caregivers more accurately on the desired effects, side effects, and adverse events of cross-sex hormone treatment, she added.
The study included 45 transsexual men and 42 transsexual women at 4 European centers in Ghent, Oslo, Amsterdam, and Florence, that specialized in transgender treatment. All participants received treatment for 12 months. Male to female transsexuals received anti-androgen treatment in combination with a form of estrogen, which is the principal female sex hormone. Female to male transsexuals received a form of the male sex hormone, testosterone.
Researchers measured participants' waist-to-hip ratio, blood pressure, and the percentage of fat and lean tissue mass throughout the study, and follow-up was 1 year. Researchers found that males transitioning to female in the study reported breast tenderness, hot flashes, emotional behavior, and decreased interest in sexual activity.
Well, I feel like I'm having hot flashes today.
It's something that's you in a nutshell right there.
Oh, shut up. Okay. Anyway, back to the article. These male to female transsexuals also experience significantly increased fat tissue and decreases in lean tissue and muscle. Female to male transsexuals reported increased interest in sexual desire and greater variation in tone of voice. Females transitioning to male gender and transitioning to the male gender in the study also exhibited significantly more acne and body hair, as well as increases in lean tissue and muscle and decreases in fat tissue. That describes you.
Exactly. Researchers noted that no serious complication occurred in either groups. Besides demonstrating the safety of hormonal treatment for transgender people, researchers said the latest study could also help clarify its safety for other indications. Studying transsexual persons generate knowledge of the similarity between men and women.
Weertjes explained. This is why some of our findings can be extrapolated to other more common conditions that are associated with changes in sex steroid hormones, such as hyperandrogenism in women. For example, polycystic ovarian syndrome or androgen deprivation therapy in men. For example, when undergoing prostate cancer treatment or treatment for sex offenders.
Very, very interesting article. The noted thing here that it's only a short-term study, so we still don't know what long-term effects of taking hormones will do to us. But it is what it is, and we are guinea pigs and forerunners and frontierers. Yeah, but...
Oh, not those kind of things.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us on Friday. Our next show won't be now till Tuesdays. We won't be doing Friday night shows anymore. It'll be Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m.
Yes, Eastern. It's going to be Transgender Week, Tuesday and Thursday.
Yes.
The 3 T's.
That's right. We're back to that.
Tuesday, Thursday, Transgender.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yes.
And
Transgender Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes.
There we go. The 3 T's.
So catch us July 2nd, I think, is our next show, right? Yeah, July 2nd will be our next show. Let me see here. Yep, July 2nd. So,
and we will not be having a TV show on July 4th.
Yeah, we won't have a TV show on July 4th. So we have a show in 4 days again, Tuesday, July 2nd. We have, I forgot her name. I've got to look up. Just check our calendar and you'll see our guys. So we'll be with you next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Remember, we love you, but remember to always love yourselves too. Good night, everybody. Good night, good night, good night, good night. And let me play our little